Hello, I'm calling for Shad Meshad.
Sure, one moment while I transfer you. Hello, you've got a Shad. Please leave a message. Looking forward to getting back to you.
Hello, Shad. This is Chris Bennett calling, and I'm glad I'm going to leave a message here, kind of like a presentation. I've got an innovative plan to get some support for everything you're trying to accomplish. So please acknowledge when you get this. I'm videotaping this message on this end, and I'm going to put it onto my YouTube channel that I've been trying to get to you. The channel is youtube.com/@Earth Communications Office. Communications plural. So I have several different presentations there. One to the Saddleback Church, to Rick Warren. I just discovered one of my business partners, investor in one of my projects for I've known for 10 years. His whole family was in that church for the last 30 years. And if I get cut off here, I'm going to complete it. So basically, 10 years ago, he was a young guy, and he was also friends with Rick Warren's son. Both of them got a bunch of bad, phony labels of mental illness and put on a bunch of drugs in toxic combinations. It led to Rick Warren's son committing suicide, and Oscar killing his stepmother with an axe. So you and your friends, all of them know this is wrong. The diagnoses are wrong. So I'm going to go through the whole thing. Bruce Perry, he's now in prison in nearby here, Lancaster, and Bruce Perry is on part of a team with Bessel Kolk. So with Bessel Kolk, so Compassionate Prison Project. They've been investigating all the prisons in California and working on reforming them so they are trauma informed. On the board of directors, advisors is Bruce Perry, Bessel Kolk, Vincent Felitti, and Gabor Mate. Friends of yours, all of them, I'm sure. So this is a message to all of you, Shad and all of you. You know this type of overprescribing is wrong. So you've wanted to, bring attention to it, and I believe it's all part of God's plan that you only went as far as you did. So I saw Bruce Perry had an event a couple years ago, a conversation with Kay Warren, Rick Warren's wife. So she's the main one, that was on the journey of trying to heal her son along with her husband, but she was there, he was doing the pastoring all day, and she was like taking him to the appointments, and it was more like, full time, I bet, for her. So the veterans are also getting these same toxic combinations of drugs because of Matthew Perry. So, but they're not getting this treatment. So in Rick Warren's case with the son and Kay Warren, and in the case of my friend Oscar, Gary is his uncle. So Oscar Gary's brother is Oscar also. Oscar Jr. from young age, I don't have all the numbers here, but his brother drowned in a lake in Santa Monica because he had an injury and then he was taking some kind of drug prescribed by the doctors, and then he drowned. So soon after, Oscar Jr. started having symptoms of depression. Goes into the doctor. They diagnose ADHD or something, put him on drugs. Over the next few years, it gets worse and worse. Then it's bipolar disorder. Cycling through 5 different drugs, sometimes 2 or 3 at a time. So at the same time having an severe alcohol problem. Going to Rick Warren's church for addictions counseling, Celebrate Recovery. After the drowning, they had the funeral at the church, Rick Warren's church. He didn't officiate, but I'm sure he's like officiated at many, many funerals. So an issue of severe importance is the pastors have burnout. What is the symptom of burnout? People are disconnected interpersonally. So this came out 1998. Dr. Figley signed it. I flew out to Florida in 2002 or so, right after 9/11, and met him and had lunch with him and his wife and said, Dr. Figley, you're the top expert in the world on post-traumatic stress. You're one of the creators of the concept. I need your help to share the cure with the world. You know the cure, the non-drug cure, because everybody in my family has it. So that's what I've been working on ever since. So, best wishes, Charles Figley. Founding editorial board, Matthew J. Friedman. So, he's been the director, National Center for PTSD, Veterans Administration, and Dartmouth University. So he's the one for the next 20 years that was the director and decided how all the veterans should be medicated, over-medicated. And they didn't get Dr. Figley's treatment. So I talked to him twice over the years. Once I talked to him and I said, why aren't the veterans getting Dr. Figley's treatment? And he said, oh, well, we're testing it out here and there. Baloney. So, over-medication. I got multiple books here of parents. Here's one. You'll Be Fine, Darling. I've talked to the author, Pat Mina, a dozen times. Over-medicated. It's going to take me a while to pinpoint exactly which drugs. But in the case of Oscar Jr., he got one drug that, an amphetamine for the ADHD, which is increases dopamine. Then antipsychotic seizure medication, which reduces GABA. Then an was it a SSRI? Dang, I'm blocking on it now. Okay, but it was like uppers and downers at the same time. Now that's totally insane. But Dr. Daniel Amen, that's his approach. So here it is right here. It is right here. So you have case after case after case in here where the patient comes in, 6 years old to 79 years old, and he goes right for the drugs. And he steps over the fact that they're in an abusive environment, or an abandoned child, or a 16-year-old girl who ran away from home to live with her boyfriend and is having sex with him outside of marriage. So, over and over. Uppers and downers, the same combination that Rick Warren's son got and Oscar Jr. got. There's a 79-year-old man here who came in, had a history of violence towards his spouse and family, and had just had open heart surgery, or bypass surgery, a heart attack. And then soon after, he had 3 days psychosis. So after it calmed down, he went into the Dr. Amen, and Dr. Amen put him immediately on amphetamines. For somebody that just had a heart attack, doesn't even mention what drugs he was on from the other doctors. Okay, I mean, it's like an encyclopedia of horror stories. I'm not going to go through all of them. We should go through each one of them together. So that's what I want to do, Shad. You and all these other experts. I made a list here. Mr. Lone Ranger. You've been Lone Rangering it. That celebrity board of directors, I didn't see one video with them. Okay, it's great that they support you, but maybe they can make a couple phone calls for you. So I got a chart here of 100 celebrities that have gotten those, share deeply about their struggles with depression, etc. They're looking for the cure. Doesn't it make sense to just hold an event about the cure? What is the cure? What is the cure according to Dr. Figley? So in the case of Kay Warren and Rick Warren, okay, it started out, let's see, go back 30 years. He had an event to celebrate the opening of his new church that they were going to start to build, and 6,000 members showed up. So that shows you he's got a lot of people coming to him every week, sharing their traumatic experiences and their problems and asking for help, etc. So burnout. Then soon after, it was around that time, this is called taking a proper history. Dr. Amen. You find out what happened to people. What happened to you. So that's when Rick and Kay's son started having a problem. They went to the psychologist. The psychologist said, "Oh, that's ADHD. Here's Ritalin or Adderall." A couple of years later, it was worse. It's getting worse. So they went to UCLA. Oh, it's bipolar disorder now. Here's some more drugs. Okay, at the same time, in another part of UCLA, we have multiple doctors who are saying that the labels are baloney. Dr. David Cohen, I'm sure you heard of him. I'm putting some of his videos on our channel. Dr. Kirk. What's his name? Kirk. Dr. Kirk. Professor Kirk. I'm blocking on the first name. He wrote a book about DSM, about how it's all baloney, back in the 1990s. So there's this like communication barrier. My dad ran into the same thing in the medicine side. Okay, so we have the other book with Dr. Figley. Where's that? The blue one over here. Secondary traumatic stress. Okay. All right. Okay, you guys have done a million studies. You should take all the money from studies that you're doing right now, put it all into one shebang, which is a series of communications. That's all I want to do. Stay where you are. Okay? Kay Warren did this thing with Bruce Perry a couple years ago. Let me get back to that. And, you know, like, he is so nice. Okay? He has got to be the nicest person on planet Earth. Okay, let me tell you guys, that's the cure. Okay, I talked to Shad. He is so nice. 80 years old. He is the nicest they're okay, you guys, that's the cure. Okay, but the problem is that when people are afflicted, they're not nice like that. Okay, so every one of my family members is afflicted. They're nice like that, like 90% of the time, and then like some 95, okay, and then angry to the point where they're gonna drop dead, okay, from a heart attack, and that's what's causing their blood pressure to go through the roof. So hypertension, 95% of Americans get it. It's a symptom of PTSD, according to Bessel Kolk's book and ACEs. Okay, so newsflash: if 95% get it, then it's a global epidemic and it's contagious. Secondary traumatic stress. Okay, contagious epidemic. So, number one, you have to inform the public. President Bush said, in order to fix a problem, you got to diagnose it correctly. So, we got a big problem. Oscar is now in the Lancaster jail. He's made, and all the prisoners there are made to go hungry. Okay, because they serve them lame food. Okay, and it's not enough. So, okay, they can stuff it down, and then but one serving 3 times a day. It's not a buffet where you can all you can eat. All right, and it's lame food. They're malnourished, and they're hungry all day. So, Bruce Perry, Gabor Mate, Vincent Felitti. Oh, here he's calling. All right. They're all on the organization. They're trying to reform the place. And these guys are going hungry. They brokered a cease violence 6 months ago, because it was like riot after riot. But, you know, there was a stabbing a few weeks ago, and now they're all in lockdown. Okay? So they're all in lockdown. So the guards are still getting stabbed. So what I want to do is I want to deliver 10 trucks, food trucks there, like in a week. So I'm asking you guys, join with Rick Warren. We're going to message to President Biden and Kamala Harris to say it's got to stop. It's got to stop, and it's got to stop now. Do you agree?
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Okay.
They keep pushing for people to be convinced that pedophile rapists or be homos or be sex offenders, and there isn't any on this yard.
Did they yell that out today? Somebody yell that today?
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah, the COs yell it out. The COs, they go against people and think convincingly that people have, and this is one of those yards that nobody is like that.
Okay, so it creates an environment of threat. So
environment threat, yeah.
A threat of violence against you and other people there when they're flapping their gums and.
Violence, and they make up an excuse to say something that they convince people to rat or lie or snitch people out because they have stuff jackets or have paperwork or have charges like that or have never had anything like that. So they made it all up. Of services.
Do you ever hear, like, and when's the last time you heard a guard, like, beating up a prisoner or a prisoner's getting beat up or hurt?
No, nothing that I know of.
Not recently.
I haven't personally seen anything. Yeah, not recently.
Okay, so aside from the stabbings, there's certain,
Yeah.
you know, but number one thing I want to focus on right now is the hunger.
Yeah.
Okay, which, how do you feel right now?
In the engaged environment, pretty hungry. I had to brush my teeth to get the food, taste buds, calmed down. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
And what have you eaten?
I've eaten breakfast, which was a little bowl of cornflakes, wasn't enough. A biscuit and SOS and milk and a lunch, a bag lunch.
What is SOS?
Shit on a shingle.
Okay, what does that mean? What is it?
Yeah. It's a very small portion of food that they feed us in the morning, and then they give us a lunch, which is in a wrapped plastic bag. Cookies, trail mix, and cracker and bread and a meat patty, and that's not enough.
What do you mean a meat patty?
A meat patty, yeah. They give us bologna or some sort of meat. They got like 9 different types of meat. Usually they're supposed to hand out, but they only hand out one type of meat.
Okay, well that's like slavery. That's like slave foods. That's like how you would feed slaves.
Yeah, technically.
Yeah. So if you had slaves and they didn't have, the slaves had no rights, then you'd feed them that kind of food.
Right. Right.
Okay, so by the way, I'm recording this right now, and as a message to I was already recording. I mean, and I've already told you that we're going to be recording these, of course. But I was already recording for like 10 minutes of a presentation to this group of their post-traumatic stress experts. And so they're on the board of directors for the prison reform group that I told you about. Compassionate Prison Project.
Right. Yeah, prison project, compassion.
So,
Project. It's good.
But you never heard of them, right?
No, I haven't. I wish I had more information about it and help with it.
Okay, so that means they're not getting through to everybody. And so their goal is to help everybody in prison improve the situation. And since you never heard of them, that means they're not, getting heard. So they need like a channel. They need like a video channel where they could talk to everybody in all the prisons and share good ideas, about healing.
Right. Yeah, they come up with bad ideas and bad ways to convince other people that they're bad people or they're not doing anything productive. They're not members of society or residents or permanent residents or people that are moving around and have JCAT-ass attitudes or drug attitudes or homosexual attitudes. I don't condone or enable or ever have anything like that going on.
Have you been physically attacked while you're there and you had to punch somebody back?
Yeah, I have several times.
Okay. Any bad injuries from that?
No.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, I know you have a tablet there where you can watch all kinds of you can watch all kinds of videos and entertainment and things. Are there any videos you have access to that are about healing post-traumatic stress?
Very minimum. Very minimum to PTSD videos. We have education courses. We got religious courses. We got movies, music, and news and sports. Well, they were wrong about their first Ricky saying the service to be pedophiles teaching it, so they created an animosity and endangerment and false
Wow. Yeah, that's like that's psychological abuse to be.
Yeah, 'cause I have an ability to be, I have an ability to be big-headed, and they do psychological abuse in warfare, and traffic like that, and carry like that.
Yeah, yeah. That's got to stop.
Pretty sure I'm not. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I haven't done any action like that. That's all they fucking ask and discriminate and bias and stereotypical and all their amount of threatening and warnings are.
Okay, a question. Do you know any veterans? Do you know any veterans in there?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, okay. That's another issue where we'll talk about that another time. Um,
For sure.
it's another key issue.
Yeah. Yeah, I talked to the veterans, and I tried to join a veteran class, but I don't have any knowledge in the military. But
And you said you know a guy there, you know somebody that's there for marijuana, and he now has a 30-year sentence.
yeah, he has a life sentence for third strike against a pound of marijuana.
And when did he get caught? How long ago?
I don't remember.
I mean, was it years ago or just a couple years ago?
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
Okay, because marijuana is legal now. So how could he get so many years when it's legal?
Yeah, I know. That's what I told him. That's what I said. That's what I rendered him.
Huh. Okay. Well. Anyway. Let's cut this short because I'm gonna finish up this video, and let's see. I'm working on getting your dad. I talked to your dad and your uncle, and they were gonna go down to the church and see if they can get this information to Rick Warren through the church.
For sure.
So I asked them to do that.
Good. Now I'm gonna call my dad after this phone call and chop it up with him.
Okay. Good. Well, call me later if you want to.
Yeah.
Okay?
All right, I will.
Okay, bye. Whew. So, Lancaster Prison. Hell on earth. Veterans are there. 7,000. What did it say? I Googled it. 7,000, 8,000 veterans in California. Going hungry. Getting slave food. So, and it's not being talked about like blatantly, this is wrong. So I got a list here of people I want to invite with your help. Shad and Bruce Perry. Bruce Perry, let's see. Bruce Perry, let's remind Bruce Perry of one thing. You worked with Rob Reiner to pass this bill that raised billions of dollars for an education campaign and treatment for nicotine cigarette addiction. I'm mentioning that for a couple of reasons. One is the big secret that nobody knows, except for the experts, is that people smoke cigarettes because they are traumatized and they're replacing that dopamine in their brain, which is low. So I came up with this innovative idea which explains almost everything wrong on the planet. Okay, bad news stress turns off happy chemicals in the brain. Then we turn to junk food, nicotine, alcohol, and illegal drugs to turn them back on. So that's a simple fact of reality which is impossible to